There's an election that God still loves you and has a plan for you. I do. Because I still believe in miracles. God's kingdom will come. It is in his hands. We trust in him. We don't trust in governments. We don't trust in the United Nations, thank goodness. We don't trust in all of these things, fine as they might be and as important as the role that they play. Believe me, I've worked in it and they are important. But as someone who's been in it, if you are putting your faith in those things like I put my faith in the Lord, you are making a mistake. They're earthly. They are fallible. I'm so glad we have a bigger hope. The truth of God stands up and shines through as we were singing. So, you know, one of the most important things in all of these treatments for anxiety is, and those suffering, especially with mental illness, is people need to know they are seen, that they're acknowledged, that they're heard, that they're listened to, that they're understood, that they're not making it up, that they're not soft or weak, or if you go back into the sort of stigma that is attached to mental illness, people are taught to think like that. And they're broken and they're hurting and they're living a nightmare every single day. And one of the first things that the counsellors try to do as they walk into, whether it's Headspace or Head to Health centres that we establish or any of these, is to say, you matter. I see you. I see the pain that you're going through. I can hear you. I'm listening to you. I'm taking you seriously. I'm acknowledging what's happening to you. You are at the centre of this conversation we're having. And you know, that's how God sees you. That's how God understands anxiety. God knows that anxiety is part of the human condition. I joked before the previous service, and Matt's here. Look, I know this. God knows that anxiety is part of the human condition. I joked before the previous service, and Matt's here. Look, I know this. My physical body, if he and I go and play tennis, not only will it be humiliating, embarrassing for me, he might try and be kind to me as he was when we first met a few months ago. But I tell you what, I'm walking off that court, sore, hurt, aching for days. He would never know he'd played me. God knows that it's part of who you are as a human being. How do I know that God knows that? Well, he spent 3 years here on earth with 12 very anxious guys. Every single day. They're anxious. I don't know if you've seen The Chosen. I have watched it, really enjoyed it. I'd encourage you to do it because it focuses a lot on the disciples. Jesus was there with them every day, understanding their anxieties. What does this mean? They had to leave their families behind. They had stuff going on with their mothers-in-law. They had all sorts of stuff going on. And Jesus was there walking with them every day, saying things to them that was just blowing their minds. I can imagine their anxiety. God was there with Abraham. He will never forsake you. He is a refuge. He is a stronghold. He is a strong tower. And then there's anxiety about the future. Society, where it's heading. Richard and I knew Shinzo Abe. Devastating. It is in his hands. We trust in him. We don't trust in governments. We don't trust in the United Nations, thank goodness. We don't trust in all of these things, fine as they might be and as important as the role that they play. Believe me, I've worked in it and they are important. But as someone who's been in it, if you are putting your faith in those things like I put my faith in the Lord, you are making a mistake. They're earthly. They are fallible. I'm so glad we have a bigger hope. We cannot allow these anxieties to deny us that. That's not his plan. That's Satan's plan.
Want one nation, One nation wants autistic children to be taken out of public schools because, and I quote, they're a strain on the rest of the class. People don't choose to be autistic. Taking them out of school is discrimination. And One Nation just loves it. One Nation wants a ban on any immigration from majority Muslim countries, even if the person isn't Muslim. People don't choose what country they're born in. That is discrimination. One Nation has no problem with that either. One Nation is opposed to same-sex marriage. One Nation is the champion for the right for unvaccinated, COVID-carrying mainlanders to come to Tasmania and create an outbreak. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not going to happen under my watch, and I doubt very much if it's going to happen under Premier Gutman's watch. We're not going to stand for it. One Nation are just the enemy of health workers and officials who would have to clean up after the outbreak. Everybody pays for COVID-19. Every day we have to deal with lockdown and restrictions is a day when a business goes bust, a family breaks down in despair, and a person takes their own life. The way out of lockdowns and restrictions is vaccinations because there is nothing else on the table. Let's be honest about that. It's how we protect ourselves, and it's how we protect each other. It's how we stand together. It's how we fight back. It is the only weapon we have. And we need to do everything we possibly can to keep ourselves safe, our kids safe, our grandchildren safe, and our friends and family. That's what we need to do. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made. They have to be made. You are patriots. We should be celebrating vaccinated Australians. You're fighting for our freedoms, to take control of our lives again. That's what you're doing. And good on you. It's a proud day for you today, and so it should be. Good on you for showing the courage to do so. You're the best we have. You are the frontline fighters, and you're displaying the kind of quality that makes this country the great country it is. Because that's what it takes, sacrifice. I was brought up in believing in responsibility, to look after people that can't look after themselves, and that nobody owes you anything. So go out and earn what you want. Go out there and earn it. This bill flies in the face of all of that, and that's why I absolutely oppose every bit of it.
2022 is the sad fact that your kids, my kids, are going to be living in a world, in Australia that's poorer, older, and smaller.
Well, the reality is we are going to see the economy contract. That's one point. The second is because of the health restrictions, we've seen an impact on population. And as you point out, Australia's population growth will be the lowest in more than a century. And net overseas migration will be falling in consecutive years for the first time in 46 years. So we are seeing, as a result of COVID-19, Andrew, significant impact on growth as a result of those population numbers. And of course, we're seeing a smaller economy as a result. But there is cause for optimism and hope, and that's our focus.
So not poorer, not older?
Well, again, the Australian economy...
Not poorer, not older?
Well, again, the Australian economy... hope, and that's our focus.
So not poorer, not older?
Well, again, the Australian economy will continue to grow. Population growth will come back. The net overseas migration numbers that are printed in the budget after those consecutive years of falls will start to come back as restrictions are eased. So the trends will start to turn around for the economy, but certainly the shock is great.
Catherine Murphy.
Speech a minute ago that citing past recessions